All right, I mean, well, that's gonna do it, guys, for that. I don't really have anything else to say about that, but that's the Callisto protocol. That's the Callisto protocol. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. I don't really know what to say about that. I mean, I guess it kind of made sense because it was all in his head and I kind of figured as much. But they just kind of, I don't know. I don't know. There was aspects about it that were really scary. There was aspects about it that weren't. All I know is that now, since I played that DLC, I can uninstall this from, just remove it. I can uninstall this from my thing, and because I don't think they're gonna be coming out with anything else. Yeah, no. The Callisto Protocol is wrapping up in June with the final chapter story DLC. The Callisto Protocol is set to wrap up its final story threads on the 27th of June 2023 with its heart-pounding chapter as the final transmission. Yeah, it says the story will serve as the story's final chapter. So after this, it's done pretty much. Well, we played it. We got through it. We did a thing, and we certainly played a game. I didn't think it was their strongest stuff. I just didn't. I didn't think it was that good. I thought it was like at most, because especially given the fact that I beat it within one sitting. I beat this DLC. It shouldn't take me one playthrough to beat it. I've only been streaming now for about 5 hours. That's pretty much like on par for like a normal stream. I shouldn't be able to beat a DLC in literally the time that it takes me to stream, right? I don't think that kind of qualifies itself as a DLC. You know, it's just it was okay. That's how I feel, like just lukewarm, mediocre at best, you know. There's things about the game that it does really well, right? And they don't capitalize on those things, right? Parts of what I'm talking about is like those segments when you're going through like those hallways and it's dark and it's creepy and it's building the tension, and it's doing that really well. Like that's what that game does really well. But then I think the problem is that you're trying to sort of juggle those aspects of it, right? I think they wanted to just make like a sorry, my eyes are itchy right now because I've been playing games. I think they just wanted to make like an action horror game, which is fine if that's what you want to do, but this game had so much potential to be something so much more than that. You know what I mean? It's like those are the moments that scare you, right? Those are the moments that trigger you to be scared, is those tense parts in time. There was only one moment in time that I was legitimately scared, and that's when I was in the vent and those propellers were coming for me. I didn't like that, and that there's a reason for that. I personally don't like getting chased. I don't like being in enclosed areas. I'm not claustrophobic, but I don't like that type of shit. And that was genuinely frightening. I didn't like that. I screamed. I did not like that, okay? But then, you know, there's other parts of it too, like there was that one segment where I was in those hallways and I was walking around and I tried to like get through it, and you could hear things in your corners but you can't see them, and you know that there's something lurking around the way but you can't really, you know, understand what it is, and it's a little crazy, right? So that kind of shit is scary, right? And then the other aspect of it too is the psychological aspect of it. You know, like that shit that they were doing when the enemies were attacking me, and then all of a sudden they were disappearing. That was pretty fucking cool. I like that. You know, like, and they could have did so much more with that too. They could have made it so that, you know, Jacob, he goes and he sees like, you know, Danny, or he sees Max, or he sees Elias, right? And Elias is like doing some like real creepy shit, right? And he's like, Elias, what, like, you know, what is wrong with you? And then all of a sudden Elias turns into like one of the monsters or something like that, and now he has to fight with Elias or something like that. You know, like that would be really fucking cool to do. They could have did a lot more with that. They could have did a lot more cinematic, scary parts that would have made the game so much more frightening. Because really, like, the true essence of fear is not, it's not necessarily like the gross parts of it. It's the build up and not knowing what it is that you're going to see. Right? Like keeping that thing obscure, keeping it hidden, and letting the audience try to like build whatever that is, that creepy factor is that's gonna be ultimately displayed to you. And then sometimes the best thing too that they really do well, and even in Dead Space does well, is like having just like chaos happen, right? Not even chaos, but like literally have nothing happen, or have like one thing, like it doesn't even have to be like a really, really scary enemy, but just one thing that is consistently following you for a lot of time, just terrorizing you, right? It could be in the vents, or it's like, you know, punching stuff like in the distance, and it's like continuously coming after you, and you see it in the distance, and then you see like eyes, but you don't know what it is, and it's like in the corner. That kind of shit is scary. You know, and they do that really well, but then they just kind of kill it by just putting a bunch of nonsense and throwing all the fucking, you know, shit into the mix, and it's just like it becomes kind of formulaic after a while. You know, you kind of get desensitized to it really, really quickly, because you can kind of understand and know when something is going to happen. So it wasn't great. The DLC wasn't great. The main game was better than that, you know. I think the main game, up until the point that you go to Arcus, like once you get to Arcus, the game falls apart entirely. But the game, like the game before, all the parts and all the beats that you get to before you get to Arcus are really well done. Really, really well done. Like I thoroughly enjoyed the way it started, the main game. I thoroughly enjoyed like the way the story unfolded. You know, that one level where you're out in the cold and you gotta fight, you know, the Invisa monsters and all that stuff, and you gotta make your way and try to find Danny and do all that shit. That was really cool. I like that. But once you get to Arcus and you're fighting the blind monsters, the game falls apart. And the reason why the game falls apart is because you have a segment in the game that is catered towards stealth. But then none of the characters, none of the enemies that are supposed to be, you know, hunting you down because they could hear you, none of them can actually, they don't even react to any sound at all. Not only that, you're already overpowered by that point in time. And it doesn't make you feel like you are powerless. If there was a situation in that segment where you could only use the knife and the baton, right? Like you lost all your guns and you had to somehow figure out a way to get all your guns back, and you couldn't shoot. That would make that segment frightening, because the only option you have is to get up close and personal, right? And if you like hit a wall, they react to it and they'll come running towards it, you know. All of the monsters will just start popping out the walls and stuff like that. Like that would make that segment of that game so much more frightening. But it didn't, because you didn't make me feel like I was actually trying to survive during that point in time. And then not only that, those guys can't hear worth a shit. Like that little aspect of it where they're blind and they should be functioning and reacting to sound doesn't exist, and it doesn't make any sense. So you pretty much just make that whole stealth segment a moot point at that point in time. You know, there was no risk, there was no reward, there was no consequence for shooting a gun. You know, it was just, okay, these guys are blind now. That was it. And it just didn't make it fun at that point in time. It just wasn't fun. And then the story just fell apart. You know, like somehow, I don't even understand how it even happened, but just before you get to Arcus, you fly through space, right? And you're supposed, like, it says to grab Danny's hand, but you don't, and then he just flies, and he gets, you know, he falls through a vent. Somehow magically, after you wake up, Danny's right there. You flew through like a whole space, all of space, and then all of us, I don't even understand how she was able to find you. All right, I have some grievances with that right there. How did she find me? I literally flew across the map. How did she get to me so quickly? You know, I'm not gonna question it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, there's a whole sequence that happens where you're flying through space. It's the story continuity makes no sense. Like, absolutely no sense. And that shit always bothered me. Always. And I was always just like, how the fuck does that make sense? How's she just right there ready to like pick you up and save you? Zero sense. But, you know, whatever. Also, the bosses. Like, okay, the bosses, like, first of all, that new enemy in the DLC was mad fucking annoying. I hated that guy, right? Secondly, the bosses were just mad easy. Like, the two-head dude in the main game was mad easy, right? He wasn't, it was just pretty formulaic. You dodge, you hit him, boom, done, that's it. Then the main boss of the main game, he was just stupid. Like, he was so ridiculously hard. They just, like, they're unrelenting. They're always on top of you. That Dr. Mahler wasn't really that bad. She was just kind of annoying. But the main boss in the main game, nah, bro. That shit, I remember I was playing, I must have been playing him for, like, close to an hour trying to beat him. Because not only do you have to fight him, but you also have to worry about all of the other little dudes that are crawling around, the explodey dudes. And if you don't take care of them, then it's a problem. You could use them to your advantage and like blow them up while they're close to him, to the main boss. But it's kind of stupid because he's so fast that by the time you even can think about doing that, he's already on top of you, attacking you. So it doesn't even make sense. Like, you have to focus on them, kill them first man quick so you can focus on the big guy. And if you get lucky, you might, you know, hit some of those explodey dudes and get like some splash damage on the main boss. But beyond that, it's like, not even really worth it to even try to use that kind of strategy against him. Yeah, and it took me a while to kill him. Anyways, I'm not gonna stop playing. I actually kind of want to play a little bit of Mortal Kombat 1 because I have no idea what it's about, and then we're gonna end the stream. I know I went to my game over or my end stream thing, but I kind of want to see what Mortal Kombat is about because I haven't played it. You know, I'm going through my backlog. Is what this is about. Is music playing? Is this shit on?
Mortal Kombat 1. Press the button.